Okay, so I think this angle's gonna work. Hi loves. Okay, this is part 2. I recorded another part this morning, but then like my boobs looked ginormous, and it was this it was a shirt that I had on underneath the jacket thingy, and I was like, oh no, I cannot be putting all my cookies on YouTube. That's not cute. So I switched up my shirt, and I'm lounging right now. It's after work, so I don't know if I mentioned it in the other video or not. I could easily look, but I'm trying to get this done while I got my mojo flowing. So this is my natural hair. I'm going to try and get up in the camera without getting all in your face. This is my natural hair. It's naturally curly. This is what we do. It's tired now. I have to wash my hair basically every day. Just a quick routine for me. So I pretty much wash my hair every day, and then I dry it. And I don't use a dryer. I just wash it, and I wash it with conditioner, and I roll out. So, and this is what it looks like. So yes, my natural hair is curly, and it is indeed a afro Jerry curl type thing. It's not even an afro. Like, I wish I had an afro, because then I could style it and do some funky stuff with it, but it's not even an afro. It's just a head of curls. And today I actually tried some Korean wax on it, because I was told that the wax like keeps the curls from like so I actually like it. It's nice and soft. It's not crunchy like so I'm gonna sleep on it and we'll see what happens. So anyway, yeah, I just blurbed about my hair because I know y'all are like, who is this crackhead woman in the shot? What's happening? It's still me. It's still me. Alright, so I don't remember where I left off from the last. I think Anointed Favor. Yes, I was talking to Anointed Favor, and she is number 3 of the 5 viewer questions for today. And as I explained earlier, every day I'll pick 5 viewer questions. Well, I pick 5 viewers and answer their questions and try and keep it under 10 minutes. This first one is not going to be under 10 minutes, and I'm talking really fast, so I hope that you guys can still understand me. But I'm talking fast so that I can make my points and stay under my time limit. Okay, Anointed Favor asks, how did I start, what company did I come here through? She has 2 other questions. Okay, first let me tackle that. I did not come through Epic or the Talk program. Talk is for those of you who don't know, Talk is for if you want to come to Korea and teach while you're still in university. You can do 2 semesters. And teach over here. So you take Korean classes or whatever classes are in your major at a local university, and then you'll teach during the day. And so I didn't do the Talk program because obviously I'm graduated, and I didn't do the Epic program because Epic, I don't know, it just seemed like it was a lot going on, and they're like the major monopoly, and I'm just one of those weird people who like to go against the grain. I'd rather do it on my own than, yeah, I'm just weird like that. So I didn't go through either one of those. I actually worked directly for the city of Ulsan, and because I worked for the city, I was in a public school, but it was the program I was with, not program, the program in the school I'm saying, was ran like a hagwon, which is the Korean word for private school, but it's not private school what we think when we think private school. It's private school like an organized after-school tutorial to learn English. Pretty much is what it is. Or piano or math or whatever. It's like organized after school help, pretty much. So anyway, they ran it like a hagwon, but it was in a public school. And so I went to work at 11. I worked from 11 to 6. And but I still had all the public school things, like vacation time was the same, desk warming, which is the worst. You have to like go into work, and even though you're not doing anything, you have to sit there for 8 hours just so you can make your hours, so you can legally get your salary for that month, because otherwise they would be giving you money for hours you didn't work. Anywho, so I had all the public school frills, but it was a program at an English center. The English center was in a public school, so during the daytime, kids from other schools would come and take my class, and then at night, the kids from our school and the neighborhood would take my classes at nighttime. So then I went from that to a hagwon, kind of. It's again, still a Hagwon, but in public schools. And at that time, I worked at 5 different schools, and I loved it. As an adult living with ADD, that's like the ideal program. Like, you don't see the same kids every day. You know, you're at a new school. It's a different curriculum. You know, different personalities. It was like heaven. It was so awesome. It was the ideal working environment. The company itself was the worst ever, but the actual, how they had it set up was phenomenal. And then, as most of you guys know, I partnered with my friend. We opened a Hagwon, and so basically I teach drama now. So now I work in a Hagwon, and it is a Hagwon. There's no public school about it. It's just Hagwon. But because I get to choose my curriculum, because I get to kind of set it up for what's comfortable for me, it's pretty chill. Like, I don't have any of the issues that a lot of other people have with Hagwons. But also, I will say to you, darling, it is what you make it. Whether you go public or private is totally on you, and how you choose to navigate through this experience. And I personally love adventures, and I love to try new things. So for me, it was just a matter of, okay, this is an adventure. How am I going to make this situation work? So that's how I got started, and that's where I am now, as far as teaching goes. Her second question was church. Okay, so I made notes to myself, and so I'm trying to decipher the notes that I wrote to myself for the questions. So she wanted to know about Acts 2:38, which, by the way, side note, is one of my favorite scriptures. I use it all the time for passwords and stuff. I probably shouldn't have said that, but whatever. So I really like that scripture. So Acts 2:38. And I grew up, as you may have watched from my other videos, I grew up in a Pentecostal church, and so it was a 5-fold ministry. We believe in speaking in tongues, healing ministry, prophecies, all of that, teaching, preaching, missions work, the whole gambit of everything that you can find exemplified in the Bible. We put that to practice in the now, and so that's how I grew up. And so, of course, that was comfortable for me, but then through my college experiences, I had a chance to experience all kinds of churches, and I ended up not leaving, but evolving from Pentecostal, just straight old school Pentecostal, to non-denominational, which is more of a charismatic feel. So you still get all the frills, but minus the tradition stuff that you can't find in the Bible. Like, now I just love God, and I love God, and I want to finish the work of Christ here in the earth. And I don't mean finish like through salvation, I mean finish like continue on the legacy that Christ left here in the earth. And I want to do that without any political or traditional things, you know, looming over my head. I want to just be able to go for Christ and go for what I know. And so non-denominational was a better fit for me. So with that being said, the first church I went to when I came here to Korea was a church that God led me to, and I was so excited and so appreciative to God for that. The word was awesome. And it never once did they say anything that wasn't in the Bible that I couldn't verify for myself, and I appreciated that. It was a Korean church, and they did have English translation, which is what most of the churches here have. I'd say 95% of the churches are English ministries that are connected to a Korean church, and someone translates for you. But I made wonderful connections. I still am connected to the people. I still speak to them, and you know, we hang out when we can. I just saw my nephews not too long ago, so there's still that love there. It was just that that's what I needed for that time. But once I was planted and established, God really, I feel, led me to search out different churches to see where He wanted me to be, so that, like you were mentioning from Acts 2:38, I can put into practice and grow and evolve even more in the things that were foundationally present in my life. I hope this is making sense to you. If you're a non-believer, this probably sounds like Greek, and that's okay. Bear with me 1 second, and I'm going to move on to the next question. So now the Lord led me to a different church. Donnie McClurkin was here last year, and doing a concert, and I was like, yo, I need some Donnie in my life. Oh my God. Like, I've been in Korea, you know, for the past year, and I need some Jesus, some real like interactive Jesus, because the church I was at is not interactive at all. Like, it's not. It's a cultural thing, totally culturally different. But anyway, so I went to the concert. Well, actually, I couldn't go to the concert because it was our sorority ball, so I had to go to that. But then that Sunday he was preaching, I was like, yo, I don't even care about the music. I just need to have this interaction, and it feels like home. And you know, for for someone who, like, the gospel music industry was like, that was my life, like, especially at the end. Like, that's how I made my money, putting on concerts and doing multicultural events and family things. There's always music, there's always concerts, so I really wanted to go. Anyway, I go, and it was awesome, and it was great, and then I felt this awesome, like, feeling while I was there, and I didn't join that Sunday. It was like maybe a couple months later, my scheduling and a chance to go, because it's in Daegu, a chance to go from Busan to Daegu just didn't arrive. Anyway, long story short, I ended up visiting 2 more times, and then the Lord led me to join, and now I'm the youth minister at the church, and it's really cool. Like, I'm able to do my youth outreach and ministry. I'm able to do missions work. I'm able to teach dance and drama, and I work closely with the military community. So it's not just about our church, it's about, again, using my gifts to affect the immediate community, and it's pretty doggone it awesome. So God had a plan, and I'm so excited about that. So yes, there are churches. There's some of every kind of church you could possibly think of in Korea. There's of course there's Buddhist temples and things like that. They're Catholic churches, they have Methodist churches, they have I heard there was a Kojic church. I haven't been to it, but I heard it was a Kojic church. In Seoul, they have a Korean American church. It's kind of like a non-denom, like predominantly white non-denom feel to it. It's called Jubilee. There's a charismatic church called New Philadelphia. So you can definitely find your fit. It's just a matter of where you live and being willing to travel, because Christianity is very new. Christianity as we know it, Western style, is very new here. So I hope I answered your question for that. You can find a church in Korea. Alright, making friends. I have never had any issue making friends. I don't always make the best choices in friends, but I'm pretty good in making friends. Like, people just randomly come up to me. I don't know, I guess I give off that, hey, come talk to me feel. But people always come up and talk to me, and I'm also an energy person. Like, don't take this the wrong way. Like, obviously I feel discernment and God led and all that, but I'm definitely an energy person. I'm a vibe person. Like, if I'm talking to you and I have a good feeling, a good vibe, then I'm ready to see where it goes. Like, we could be friends, we could be homies, we might end up being family. Like, I'm like, the sky is the limit when I meet somebody, and I don't care what color they are, I don't care where they're from. If there's a good vibe there, I feel like that's the universe giving you a hug, and you should just, like, roll with that, you know? And I do believe in divine appointment, and you never know how that connection is gonna bless both parties later in the future. So I'm definitely all in for that, and I do it quickly. I'm just head over heels first. But then, in the same token, if I meet someone and I'm like, I can't really put my finger on what's happening right now, I feel a funkiness, then I will, okay, well, see you later, and you will never hear from me again. I have learned from experience that go with your gut. If you are around someone and it's not feeling, don't force it. And that's something that I've really had to stand on here in Korea, because there aren't a whole lot of foreigners, so especially black foreigners, there just aren't. And we are few and far between us. And outside of Seoul, Seoul is mainly where they're open to hiring black teachers. And there are black teachers in other cities. I'm not saying there aren't, but I'm saying the majority of them live in the Seoul and surrounding Seoul area. So when you see someone black, you obviously, or someone who looks like they can relate to you, black, white, green, whatever, you want to, hey, but you can't. I've learned here, you cannot force it, because if I wouldn't hang with you in the States, I'm not going to hang with you here, and I'm not going to be phony and do it just because we're in a different country, because I have a value system, and I have things that I do and that I don't do and that I'm interested in and not interested in, and if we're on the same page with that, then I'm just spinning my wheels. So making associates and acquaintances is very easy in Korea, especially with the Koreans, because they all want to practice their English and they want to brag that they have a foreigner friend. So that's pretty easy. Korean friends come and go fairly easy. Foreigner friends are the ones that's tricky. It's tricky with the foreigner friends. And in fact, most of the things that I've learned about Korea, you know, people joke that, oh, Avery's the guru. It's not even that I'm a guru. It's that I was open to meeting so many different people, both Korean, older Koreans, younger Koreans, people who are foreigners, who don't teach but who've been here, you know, tons of years and married into the culture and things like that. And I was really open, and I just soaked up all that information. So that's the only reason why I have any opinion or things to say. So making friends can be easy in Korea if you allow it to be. Again, you just have to keep your blinders on and, you know, set your own pace. Again, for me, most teachers, the weekend is for clubbing and drinking, and that's what they do. They get plastered all weekend, and then they talk about it during the week, and then, hey, let's go get plastered again this weekend. I got an idea. Let's go on a boat and get plastered. Let's go on top of the mountain and get plastered. Then we can go at the bottom of the ocean and get plastered. Like, that's what they do. Like, they just drink and, you know, sleep with each other and laugh about it, which I guess if you're at that stage in your life where that's fun, do what you do. For me, that's not really appealing, and so when I meet people and they're like, yo, let's hang out, let's go to club, blah 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 blah, let's hang out, I meet you at bar, blah 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 blah, and I'm like, let's not say we did, but you can tell me all about it, because guess what, I have a feeling you're gonna do it again next week. So the friends you make, how you choose to interact with them, is totally up to you. Again, as I said earlier, it's about having your own life experience. And I don't have a clock anywhere around me or in front of me, so I have no idea. So if this video is running long, I'm sorry. Some people always comment, oh, your videos are too long, oh my god, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what to tell you. I just want to say what I have to say, and since it's my channel, I think I should, you know, try my best to stick to the 10 minutes, but if I don't crucify me, okay? Or just push the fast forward button or flip to another station. I don't know what to say about that. Anywho, so that was Annoying in Favor. Those are her questions. Famous Someday, 1506. Alright, her question was, her family is, okay, so your family is against you going abroad, and what should you do? Okay. I especially wanted to address this with you, and this is the last one for today, guys. When you are going to live abroad, when you're going to do anything outside of the norm, if your parents love you, they're not going to allow you to walk off the side of a cliff if they see that it's a cliff, because they're your parents. So you can't say, hey, I want to marry this guy that I just met yesterday. Come on, be happy for me, mom and dad. They're like, that's a cliff waiting to happen, and no, we do not support you. And so living abroad is not a little thing. Like, it's a little world, but it's not a little thing. And if you're not ready, maybe your parents aren't supportive because they don't think that you're ready. And I found for me, I have to present what I want to do to my parents. Like, I think I said this earlier in the day with Nick07. I couldn't just, even when I wanted to move here, I couldn't just say, yeah, so I'm out and holla at you when I holla at you. That didn't work. Like, I had to say, hey, mom and dad, this is what I want to do. This is how this happens. This is what will happen. If something negative happens, they have this in place. You know, like, I'm their baby and you're your parents' baby, so no, they're not just gonna jump on board with you if it doesn't sound like you have it together and plans out. Also, living abroad is no different than joining a Greek organization. And again, this is kind of a similar question to the one I answered earlier, so I don't know if I'm repeating myself. If I am, apologies. But if you don't know who you are before you do it, you're going to assume the personality of whoever is the dominant personality around. And that's not healthy. That's not good, because God has specifically designed you to be you. So you can't emulate whoever you're around at the time. Like, that's a miserable existence. It is tiresome, it's exhausting, and it's just no good comes of that, you know. So you don't want to lose yourself in living abroad. And although you can make friends in Korea, it can be very lonely, especially if you have standards, or if you're, you know, if you have a focus point and whatever you're doing doesn't cause you to interact with a lot of people. It can be lonely. You can miss things from home. You can miss people. I miss my best friends every day. Like, I miss them. I miss my best friends like I miss my locks. Every day. Like, every day I miss them. Thank goodness for technology, because we can keep in contact, but true story, like, I miss them all the time. So you need to have a purpose. You need to have a plan. You need to have a focus when you come over here, unless you're just coming to party, because then you could just, you know, max out and get plastered every weekend with everyone else. So, the other thing that stuck out to me is that you mentioned that you don't think you could be good at anything else. I don't know you. I can't pretend that I do. But what I can say is that I know for a fact that God has a plan. And I don't care whether you call him the universe. I don't care whether you call him the being out there. There is a purpose to everyone's life. If saying God offends you, I don't care. Change the language. But the point is that there is something for you to do. And usually it's multiple things for you to do. It's not just one thing. Like, you weren't just born to be married or just born to have kids. Like, there are people and things that you're supposed to do and affect and change and be a part of. And if you don't know who you are, and if you haven't explored those different avenues, then you're not allowing yourself to live at your highest potential, which isn't going to be fulfilling, which is going to leave you frustrated and empty. And I'm hoping this is all making sense. So I think maybe the reason why your parents aren't supportive, because maybe they're getting this vibe from you. You said yourself, you don't think you'd be that good at anything else. Maybe your parents don't want you to go abroad and get sucked into whatever is lying beyond the boundaries of their care, because they know that you haven't explored all the possibilities for who you can be. I didn't just up and come to Korea. I wasn't like, oh, I think I've failed at everything else, I'm just gotta go overseas. It wasn't like that at all. God had an assignment, He opened the door, I had to fight with Him about it. That's a whole other video, how I actually ended up in Korea. And then we worked it out. But because there was, you know, trial, error, evidence, conversation, confirmation, all of that, and then I took that to my parents, of course they were supportive, because they knew, okay, this is God's design for her. This is what needs to happen. And they supported me 120 however many percent. And so I think your parents' view of whether you should go and supporting you will change when they see that you've changed. I mean, and definitely congrats on graduating. That is awesome. I'm such an advocate of education, so shouts out to you for that. But now that you've educated yourself book-wise, you need to educate yourself inner-wise. I don't think that's a word, but roll with me. Inner-wise, you need to educate yourself. Who are you? Fall in love with yourself. Have some failures, trial and error. What do you like to do? What are your passions? What are your hobbies? Can you tie that into a job? And you know, I do a lot in Korea. People are always like, oh my God, you're gonna be burnt out and whatever. But you know, honestly, I do what I love, so it does not feel like work. When I'm in there playing and joking around with my kids and teaching them English and bringing in the American culture and exposing them to more than what they've seen on TV, that does not feel like work to me. That's my passion. I feel fulfilled when I'm doing it. When I'm on stage doing a play, when I'm choreographing a dance and teaching it, when I'm singing on a praise team, whatever, that feels like what I was meant to do, so it doesn't feel like work. When I'm at the orphanage and you know, playing with the babies, or even having events to raise money for the orphanage, it doesn't feel like work. So, but that was because I had to figure out what I wanted to do, what made me tick, and what was my purpose. And so that would be my encouragement to you. I'm not saying don't come to Korea or to teach abroad, because there's plenty of countries you can teach in. I'm saying settle and have a piece about who you are and what you're bringing to the table of life. Then figure out, you know, what's your next move from there. I meet so many people who are here who just came on a whim, and who are just kind of lost in the sauce and floating by. And it's funny, I actually was talking to my mom about it. On Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, there's a part in the movie where they have to like find the final pearl so they can, you know, get out of Hades so they can go rescue his mom, right? So while they go to this casino, the Lotus Casino, everyone's like, oh, have this flower, have this flower. When they eat the flower, you know, time passes and you don't even realize it, because it's just a euphoric, like, feeling, and then you look up, and so he bumps into this guy. His dad's voice is like, don't eat the flower, son. So he stops eating the flower, and it's starting to wear off, and he bumps into this guy playing like I think he was playing maybe Atari or something, and the dude was like, oh, this is a classic vintage. Percy Jackson's like, oh, this is a vintage game or whatever, and dude was like, what do you mean vintage? Because the dude was trapped in like the 1960s, and he had no idea how much time had passed and just sucked his life away. And I meet so many people like that here in Korea, and it really saddens me. Like, it really, really saddens me when I bump into somebody and you're like, hey, how are you going? And you start the conversation, where are you from? How long you been here? You know, what was your first city? There's a chain of events that happens for every foreigner that meets each other for the first time. And you talk to them, and they say, oh, I've been here for 6 years. And you're like, oh, you must be fluent in Korean. Nah, I just know the basics. Oh, okay. So what have you been getting into? I mean, just, you know, teaching, man, hagwon, the public. Maybe one day I'll get a uni job. Wow, well, I bet you saved a lot of money though and done a lot of traveling. Nah, not really. You know, I just kind of do what I do, man. I spend my weekends however I feel like. I mean, the money's good, the economy's not that great in the States. I mean, I guess this is just what's going on. This is just what I'm doing right now. Okay, what's your plan? Are you going to be here forever? Like, I don't know, maybe I'll get married to some hot Korean chick or something. You know, and it's like, dude, 6 years of your life has passed by and you have nothing to show for it but partying and sleeping around with willing women. Like, really? So you don't want to be one of those people. You don't want to be the lifer loafer. You don't want to be that person. So I would encourage you, famous someday, 1506. If you want to be famous someday, or if you want to be your own superstar of your own show, which is me in my life, I feel every day I live it like I'm the superstar of my own show. Like, I pretend I have a reality camera TV follow me around because I'm important. That's how I feel about myself. So whether it's for real in your mind or whatever, you know, you can do that, and the avenues of potential for you are endless. It's really up to you, and so I would encourage you to, you know, seek out those avenues. Figure yourself out. Figure out what's awesome about yourself and run with that. Go full force with that. And I think when you present that to your parents, when they see that you've grown in that way, then I think you'll find that their support will shift of you going abroad. And two, there are also other programs that are shorter amounts of time, so you don't have to come over for a whole year. You can come for, you know, 6 months or 3 months during the summer and do like an internship or whatever, just to see if you even like living abroad, because you might not like it. I mean, it sounds great, but you might be a personality that this is not a good fit. And I do meet people like that too. They're like, man, I cannot wait. I'm counting down for my contract to be over and I'm blowing this piece, because it wasn't what they thought. So you can kind of test the waters as well. So that's my advice to you. I hope it made sense and I hope it wasn't too harsh. But yeah, if you are not solid in who you are, and if you haven't figured out what you want out of life, and if you haven't set a life goal, then I would not necessarily, I think I'd have to be on the side of your parents. I wouldn't encourage you to go anywhere. Forget abroad. I wouldn't encourage you to move states if you weren't clear on what you wanted to do. Like, you have the blessed ability to chill at home in the safety of your parents' care while you're figuring it out. Then branch out and have your own failures, and I keep saying failures because life is about trial and error. So have your own trial and errors, figure out what works, and run with that. So I hope I answered your question. And again, I'm definitely not being, hopefully you didn't feel like I was being crass with you. I'm definitely not. This is just my opinion. You know, if you feel like you just want to go overseas and, you know, whatever, then do whatever. But also, at the end of the day, you only get one family, and you definitely want their support, especially when you're living overseas. I love when people send me care packages, or people just, you know, send it. Like, I got a postcard actually from my friend, and I was like, oh my god, it's nothing like having support back home while you're doing what you're doing overseas. And so you don't want to break that support system. You don't want to burn that bridge. I mean, you only get one family, and so you don't want something like living abroad, because the world isn't going anywhere. Hypothetically speaking, the world is not like gonna spin into oblivion anytime soon. Korea is not gonna go anywhere, so you have time. So figure things out. Make sure that that bridge is cool when you cross over, and that you don't burn any bridges that you may need later in the pursuit of your own happiness. So that's my 2 cents about it. Tomorrow morning, I've got who's up? Silver Kissify, Classy Jewel, Cumin Sue, One Camp 1621, L Camp, One Camp, I don't know, and BT Dub 007. So I'll answer you guys' questions. You guys' is that a word? You guys' you guys? I don't know. You guys. I'll answer you guys' questions tomorrow morning. So I hope you guys are